Okay. Well, you're looking at a city girl. My the only kind of nature that I got was 4 stories down across the street, Central Park. But camp, camp was where I flowered because I could get away from my toxic but well-meaning family, and I could dance and sing. However, I really, the sidewalk speaks to me. However, I married a man, and he did done like nature, and we went camping. And my daughter said our happiest times together were when we were camping. So therefore, when she had children, did we go camping? And we had one iconic trip to Pinnacles. Oh, it's so weird. It's like only like 2 or 3 hours out of the Bay Area where we live. It's kind of flat, rolling hills with oak trees. And in the middle, there's this volcanic explosion. So you might as well be in the Southwest with spires and caves and rocks. And again, we've been going for so many years, but time catches up with us. And I've been getting older and older. It happens. And this was the trip where my daughter looked at me and she said, "Guess what, Mom? You're not going to go on the 5 mile trip through the caves that we always do." And it kind of hit me like a punch in the gut because I haven't been able to do that. But she said, "You're too slow. And remember last year you didn't sleep well and we had to turn back." So I accepted it without huge grace, but I didn't make a lot of noise about it. And I should have told her that in my mind I was fine with being in the campground all day. So she worried about it. And then when they got ready to go, I said, "It's going to be fine." And I sent them off through the caves up that 5 miles. And what did I do? Well, here was the problem. I had had a bad night in the in the tent, which is very common. And my primary problem was the Thermarests, those lovely blow up light mattresses. And I have a backpacking sleeping bag from the old days that has a little matching cute Thermarest, and I thought they should be together because they have straps. So I had the thicker Thermarest and the skinnier Thermarest and the little sleeping bag. And the thing about Thermarests is they do not cling to each other, they slide. So the whole night I was sliding on and off, and then I had to get up so many times to pee in the dark and the cold. And finally, I had the sense to let the air out of that other Thermarest. Shh. But still, when they left, I was like that. What did I do? I seized my pillow, I seized my book, I seized my sleeping bag, and I lay down in the hammock that we bring on a stand. And there I lay, as if I was in my very own living room, doing what I do very, very often. I read and I dozed, and I read and I dozed. But in between, this is what happened. I put down the book, I opened my eyes, I lay there, and perhaps for the very first time in my life, I was aware of nature with all the senses going. I heard the wonderful, delicious cacophony of the bird song. I smelled the pine delights. I could actually see the air moving because little fluffs of, of something were floating around. It was so delicious. It was so rich. It was so full. At last, neshama and nature come together because I didn't do a thing but receive. And then after about 3 hours, I came to, I got up, I got dressed. I made my circuit around the campground, and I discovered, actually, my daughter told me that between us and the bathroom was a round trip third of a mile. So I think I got a lot of steps in. But in any case, they came back. They had loved the hike. I didn't feel so bad for having missed it. We settled in to our usual afternoons, and we had a fire and we had the hot and gloppy meal. And the next day I went on the other hike that I always do, which is really very short and brings the entire Pinnacles to you. And off we went. They left me off at the trailhead because there wasn't room in the parking lot, and I got to watch people. Then they caught up with me. Then they went up through a little cavish thing to the reservoir. We beat off the ravenous squirrel. We ate our lunch. We came up and around and down. We got in the car, and back we were in the Bay Area. Now, I think we're going to keep going to Pinnacles as long as I and it and them are there. I release the long hike. I let him do it. If I have a bad night, I know what I can do to rest. And I also finally know how to let nature into me. Thank you.